Chapter 15 is waste management. We're going to focus on municipal waste management. During the previous semester, I'm going to discuss MSW and hazardous waste management. But in this textbook, the city trash seems to be the focus, so I'm not going to talk much about hazardous waste management in this chapter. So we're going to understand what is waste stream, okay, and the methods we get rid of the waste. And of course, everybody probably think recycling is the future of waste management. Well, recycling is very useful, but I do not think it's the future of the waste management. So my idea about the whole picture, the whole waste management, I think the most important thing is to reduce the waste first, try to use it, try to reuse it, and the last resort is the recycling, which saves us resources, materials, and energy. So how bad the waste scenario is, and you already learned we have this huge North Pacific giant, okay, this massive ocean current that carry the salt nutrition around this area of the ocean, and this captain find there is this constant pattern of the waste soup consisted of these plastics, microplastics, and in this circling, and that has a really bad impact on the ocean creatures. When we talk about waste, we talk about how it is born and how it is buried. So the upstream means before it's disposed. Okay, so this is all upstream process, and then it's get disposed or recycled, and this part is the downstream. So what kind of waste we humans generate? Mining waste is the largest amount of the waste among all the trash, okay? And agriculture waste is the second place, industrial waste is the third place, and the city trash is the fourth place. And municipal solid waste will be our focus to discuss in this chapter. So EPA estimates each American consumer contributes 4.4 pounds garbage per day. So per year, it's over 1,600. That's a lot. And per person, the United States is one of the largest producers of the city trash. And we can see we produce more and more trash. And the United States is one of the countries with most of the trash. If we compare the amount of trash the people with different economic power generate, we can see in the richer country we have more trash, much more. And this is a rich country, this is a developed country, and in developing countries they generate much less trash, although they have larger populations. This is a very interesting thing to think about. The less people earn, the much less trash they produce. Now think about the take-home test 1. Okay, there's a question I ask you. In the African country, Tanzania, and which part of the consumption occupies most of their ecological footprint? And you can see from this graph the low income people, and most of them, the most of the ecological footprint is from food and shelter. And in high income, in most developed countries, you can see the carbon emissions is the largest part of their ecological footprint. So the transportation actually occupies most of the ecological footprint for rich people, okay, not for the poor people. And compare the baby, how much a baby consumes. We can see Australia, United States, 8, 9, and those poor countries about 1 to 2. If we compare Australia with Afghanistan, that is tenfold increase. Okay, so a baby in Australia consumes tenfold of resources as the baby in Afghanistan. So how this is, hopefully I call your attention to consumption. Is this a population problem or this is a consumption problem? Look at these two families. This family has more people, right? The poor family and the rich family has less people. But look at how many resources, materials it consume. And apparently this family consume more materials and energy than this one. Our textbook gives this neat figure, okay? So see, population is 10 and impact is 90. And for these two countries, population equals to 5 and produce more ecological environmental burdens, right? 180, that the impact for environment is 180 and 90. And hopefully now you understand my question I just mentioned before. Is this an overpopulation problem or this is a consumption problem? And we can see a pattern here. More consumption equals to more waste. We consume more energy and the more energy is lost. We consume more water and the more water is wasted. And we produce more food and the more food is wasted. So think about it, how to cut off the trash we produce. Maybe the root problem is the consumption. It's not like we do not have a sound solution to the waste. We just produce too much. And look at what's the prevalent trash we generate, paper and paperboard, right? Amazon shopping, that's a lot of paper packaging. Food waste, we waste the food more than we eat. And plastic, this is very interesting. And the plastic like rises 50 to 100 fold compared to 70 years ago, 60 to 70 years ago. And we produce this huge amount of plastics, have nowhere to go. And the recycling rate for the plastic is very low, actually. See, if we look at this waste stream, creating plastic resin that count for 13% of the total waste. Manufacture distribution 14%. Disposal, this is the downstream, right? So disposal and recycling process that generate 73% of the total trash a plastic bottle generates. A word about plastics. Okay, the plastics are really bad. Hopefully I can persuade you from the perspective of a biochemist or a chemist. This is the single block of building the plastic polymer, which is bisphenol A. Look at the structure here. This is atomic structure of bisphenol A. And if you look at the chemical formula, you compare the bisphenol A with estrogen, they look very different, right? But from a 3D space, okay, there are some similarities. Look at the hydroxy group on each end of the molecule, here and here. Why I mention about this? Because of this 3D arrangement of the structure of bisphenol A assembles the 3D structure of estrogen, so it can mimic the activity of estrogen. So this is a science discoveries. They found bisphenol A is related to infertility, related to cancers. Okay, and there is a large body of evidence. This is, bisphenol A is disrupting the normal hormone activities in animals and humans. And that is really bad, because for normal adult, the hormones in our body is just a teaspoon. Okay, so we don't need much of those hormones, and they are powerful in regulating our activities, our functions. And this bunch of chemicals making the plastics, they can mimic our hormones. So that is a problem. That's how bad it is. So this is the first part of my lecture. Consumption and the plastics.